Welcome back. This is Dino, the ops guy, and this is production management practice, essentially Stardew Valley Production Management 101. The whole idea is it's a free operations course, a free course of production management, which is a subset of operations management. And rather than take you to a factory where real stuff happens, I've created a factory in Stardew Valley, which of course is a factory you can probably find on your computer and you can go on your own. But it gives us a lot of opportunity. It's safe environment. Nobody gets hit or hurt. Um, so it all works out that you get to learn a little bit of production management. You get to try stuff in Stardew Valley, and hopefully you learn a fair bit and you can try stuff on your own. That would be the goal, if you will. So this episode, episode 4, we're going to talk about bottlenecks. Now, in later episodes, we'll get into a lot more details. Bottlenecks are a really big thing in production management, but I just want to sort of, dip our toe in it, get a little bit of understanding what bottlenecks are, what their purpose is, that sort of thing, so that we can have a good discussion and start with essentially some bottleneck management even early on. So, bottlenecks really, a bottleneck is a bottleneck, but to observe them, every process has a bottleneck. It's the part of the process, the resource in the process that constrains us from getting the goal. So a lot of companies, their goal is to make a lot of money. So money becomes a good proxy to say the bottleneck's the thing that stops us from printing money, essentially. So we can talk about simple bottlenecks. For example, if you go to a fast food counter, it's pretty clear that if the person behind the counter could work faster, the company would make more money. So the person becomes the bottleneck, or the tools that they're using, whether it's like a meat slicer or a toaster oven, whatever the case. The resources there essentially can be potential bottlenecks, but it's really clear to understand what's going on because it's so clear, it's so transparent. It's not always that transparent in every situation. For example, I'm using the idea of an approval process. So usually there's a supervisor who has to approve something. So a worker does some work, and then the supervisor looks at it and then says, this is right, this is wrong, whatever, sends it back to them. The worker does some more work. The supervisor looks at it again, updates it. Then after a couple iterations, we can say, okay, it's ready to be done. But in that process, it's really hard to understand where the bottleneck is. Is it the supervisor? Is it the operator or the person who's doing the work? Is it how much, how little the stuff is left, how long is left in the inboxes, how little pay attention it gets, how much little attention it gets. Um, so it could be really straightforward where we know exactly where the bottleneck is pretty obvious, or it could be very complex where we have to do a lot of work to find out where that bottleneck is. In most cases, if you have sort of a technology type business, we'll have what I would consider direct bottleneck, meaning if my company does electron beam welding, I would hope the electron beam welder is the bottleneck. And I use the example here of a dentist, right? So you have a dentist office, and the dentist can, makes money off of each person, kind of thing. I would hope that either the dentist, or in some cases, perhaps the dentist chair, is the bottleneck and restricting, why you can't get any more money. So in that sense, we're going to maximize the dentist time or the dentist chair's time. If for some reason it's something else, let's say, we're holding people back because we don't have the approval process from insurance companies or whatever. So we're actually turning people away and the dentist chair sits empty. That'd be, then the bottleneck is actually the approval of the forms, kind of thing. That would be a bad situation. Or let's say because the parking lot's too small and people don't want to book appointments, if the parking lot's full because they can't park there. That would be a bad situation where the bottleneck is the parking lot instead of the dentist or the dentist chair, kind of thing. So it's in some cases you'd say, well, Stardew Valley is a farm game, so farming is our bottleneck. Well, we just can't say that. First off, farming is not a resources; it's a set of activities. So it could be, how we water on the farm. It could be how much daylight's on the farm. It could be how many cows we have on the farm, or how many plots we have on the farm. It has to be a resource and not just a general catch-all term, right? So we want to identify the resource which is in the most need of what we need more of. So that's kind of the structure of the bottleneck. Now we're going to get to a few more specifics. So in the case of Stardew Valley, we could say, well, maybe energy is a bottleneck because every day at the end we're kind of running out of energy and we'd, want to plant more, we'd want to chop more wood, whatever, but we don't have enough energy. But you could also say, well, at the end of the day, we don't have enough time. So maybe time, game time is the bottleneck, and we got to get to bed by 2 o'clock in the morning, otherwise, we collapse and everything bad happens and that sort of thing, right? Sometimes maybe the bottleneck is inventory space because we only got those 12 spots and we keep trying to juggle them and it causes a problem. So really there are other resources that may confound the bottleneck, but we'll typically see trade-offs that we're making so that we understand, well, if we're going to make a trade-off in a certain direction, it should favor the bottleneck. And that'll help us understand where the bottleneck is. So if we're trying to make sense of it, let's look back to this situation from day 2. And here in this case, you can see the energy is really, really low, but we're also running out of time. So you can say, well, what's more important, time or energy in this case? Well, we're actually slowing things down time-wise, essentially every chance we get, collecting the right seed, going to the right tree, making a field snack, just so we have enough energy. So we're making trade-offs here basically to have more energy. So we're using up time and it's starting to look like a bottleneck, but the bigger issue here is energy. You can see the trade-off. Or alternatively, you may argue that we don't have a lot of spot on our inventory. I mean, it was nice that book doesn't take up any space. But oh, there's 2 more items and that's going to completely fill our inventory. So if only we had more, because there's other stuff we want to pick up. Oh, we can drop the newspaper, soggy newspaper. So it doesn't have any value really until the recycle bin comes in. But so we took the clamshell over the newspaper, but even the mud we had to leave behind. So you can see, as much as it may cause us a bit of issues when we're trying to figure out our inventory space, and even we got to the point where we had left some stuff behind. Yeah, that really caused. So yeah, it could be a bottleneck, but in this case, we're saying it's not. It's still, even though space is a problem, the energy is the bigger problem. So the next thing you're going to ask is, Dino, what does this mean? Well, so let's say we've decided that energy is our bottleneck. We're going to focus just on energy. And the first thing we're going to do, once we've assumed that energy is our bottleneck, is we're going to scrutinize anything that expends energy. So if it's watering, maybe there's a trade-off we can make where we're going to spend a little more time walking and lining up every plot so that we don't miss. And in that way, we're going to save some energy. But maybe, ordinarily we'd want to go fishing, or if the mine was open, we'd want to go mining. If we're judicious to say we only got so much energy, let's decide essentially before we start map this out, where is the best use of that energy and make those decisions appropriately. So the next step beyond that is we're going to consider, are there bigger trade-offs we can make to get energy, more surplus energy? And we may want to think, well, it's a long way to walk down to get spring onions, but it is a source of energy. So if we do that walk and we get spring onions, it may be worthwhile as a trade-off, because time in the game isn't as important as energy that we can use to do what we want to do, right? So the same thing if we're fishing and we get either seaweed or green kelp, it's not a terrible waste just to eat it so that we can use that energy. It's actually a little more efficient than it would be, let's say, a leek or a dandelion kind of thing. So we may make those trade-offs, and we're saying, well, maybe in another situation we'd want to wait, keep those for a quest, or actually sell them, or use them, to make whatever we need as an ingredient kind of thing. But given that energy is so important, might be the time where we're going to make that decision. Once we've done all the efficiency we can internally, once we've done everything we can as far as trade-offs in other situations to maximize our energy, the step beyond that would be, looking at upgrading our watering cans so we get more efficient use of watering, looking at upgrading our axe so we can get more chopping efficiency, looking at upgrading our pickaxe or upgrading our fishing rod. But that's going to be after, once we've essentially exhausted all the other situations that we can get to. So the next thing you may want to be asking is, what to expect. So essentially, if we continue to struggle, for all our best efforts, if we find that energy is still the thing that's holding us back, we are doing the right thing. That is actually a confirmation that we have found the bottleneck and that what we're doing is the right management approach. So we will probably keep doing that. We'll keep doing that, in fact, until, and it's important we keep our eyes open for this to see if the situation changes. If we find that our trade offs going from energy to game time basically makes it so that time in the game becomes more valuable than energy on a bottleneck basis, we have to be able to appreciate that right away and then start this process over choosing game time. If we find that inventory space, if we find that, anything that we're looking for. The only thing, and this was on a previous slide, I should have got back to, was some people may say, well, money is the thing that's holding us back. If we had more money, we could buy more stuff. You never want to use the dependent variable as one of the inputs. So essentially, what we're trying to do is get more money out of this. That's sort of part of our goal. Saying that we need more money in doesn't really help us. That's not a bottleneck situation. So we really want to focus on the resources, not the outbound resources, but sort of the input resources that are needed so that we can understand the situation best. So given that we've recognized the importance of the bottleneck and bottleneck management, we want to include that in some of the objectives that we're doing it. And we want to set up basically Av to take some responsibility to get some understanding of what's going on with watering the plots. This is not a management issue. This is really like a floor issue that that management really can't control a lot of what's going on in some of those decisions. So for day 4, we're going to set up Av to say, we want to be able to use those 300 wood to make that connection to the tide pools. We want to catch a sunfish, certainly for Leah, because that one's time sensitive. But if we can get another one for the bundle, that'd be great too. We want to water all plots, and we want to sort of focus on not missing any. And we want to look at forage items, including spring onions, even if it means walking a little more. And where we have some extra cash, convert that cash to parsnips and plant them. So that's what we got going on for objectives for day 4. Av, it is over to you. Okay, we are back. It's day 4. We got a few things to do. Certainly, we have the 300 wood that we're going to use to fix the way to get to the tide pools. I don't know if it's a bridge or what it is. But yeah, we got to be careful with our watering. We have to try and find spring onions and forage items. So we'll get to that. Let's get the watering can in the right spot. So we want to be efficient with the watering here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're probably wondering. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Why I'm counting. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 23, oh, SMS 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 5, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 48, 49, 50. That's 3 misses. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. How come we get 66 there? On the record, I get 67. But okay, so really, whether it's 66 or 67, it's going to be close. Counting is what we do. So if you look at, we had 66 or 67 places to plot, thing. We got 3 misses. So that works out to about 4.5%, etc., 4.6%, whatever the case. We want to keep track of that. and that's something we want to post. There are some numbers such as how efficient we are at fishing, like how much fish we get per hour, that sort of thing. Well, we should probably go the other way, I think, because oh, and we picked the geodes because we're going that direction. Nothing there, but now we're going to go back down to the where the spring onions are. But yeah, there are some things that management are going to keep track of, certainly on the ledger side, some of the accounting stuff. But there's something production is responsible for, and that is how efficient we are running the watering. So we are going to measure it, because if you measure it, you can do something about it. And we're going to keep track of what works, what doesn't. And we're going to do that internally. It's not up to management to come down and say you should put your left foot forward, or you should put your right foot forward, or you should basically water 3 spots from one location, or whether you should go to each location individually. That's a production thing. And it works for us and management if we keep it in the production realm, but that means we have to be responsible for the numbers. So that's what that's all about. Oh, there's an item. Why don't we leave that here, because we're going to have to probably come by here later. We will need the inventory space. So as we said in the last episode, space is going, or even in the warm-up that Dino gave us, space is going to be a limitation. We're going to have to manage that. Game time is going to be a limitation. We're going to have to manage that. But the biggest limitation is going to be, hey Penny, is going to be that we have to manage our energy. So things that do that take up energy are prime of our concern. So we are here. We're going to fix the with the 300 wood, fix the causeway or the bridge or whatever the gateway through. Okay, we're going to use some energy here. That's a book. We don't have to take up space. Oh, we got sea urchins. Sea urchins are good. So we've run out of space. We're going to eat our spring onions. That's good. And we're going to pick up our coral, our coral, our coral, our coral. We couldn't pick that other one up because clearly it's a different type. So we picked up 3 plain coral. Maybe that coral, the other coral is iron, or maybe it's gold. So we're going to leave the geode there because we will need the space um, to pick up those other items. Now, I don't remember if we got the clams or the oysters before. Certainly we didn't get the sea urchin before, but we need those for bundles. So we're just going to keep them until we know. No, we want to go back and get the red coral because whether it's iron or gold is still pretty valuable. I think it's 80 for a regular coral, so an iron gold is going to be 100. So this is going to be $100, 100 gold. So that's worth getting. We can convert that to parsnips that we can plant today, and that's going to be worth our while. So early on, we want to get our money up front just because we can convert it faster to parsnips. So we get sort of that internal rate of return, as fast as possible until we hit our capacity. And then we're going to switch over. The focus is going to be getting the most out of each plot kind of thing. So let's go see Clint the blacksmith. We're going to process the geode for 25G. Oh, it's copper. That's our first copper. Normally, I don't get excited about copper. There's another thing we're going to dig up. So let's put the copper down and go and dig up that point. Put the copper down. Are we going to... Oh, right. We're very efficient there. That was not a good thing, but I don't think it's regular occurrence, so I don't know how much efficient. Hi, Gunther, we're just going to give you some stuff because you're going to give us money for it. That's cool. And all sorts of surprises and stuff. So because of giving him our first item, we get 250. Yay, that's good. We also want to give Leah her quest of, she has a quest for us to deliver her sunfish. So we'll try and fish a sunfish here. Normally I would go from the bridge, but here's a little trick. If you are full in your inventory, which we might end up being, you're better off fishing from the left or the right. Oh, you don't need that newspaper necessarily. So we'll make a bit of room with the snack. Because if you drop something when you fish left or right, it remains out of the water. If you drop something you're fishing north or south, it ends up in the water. So if you wanna save it, keeping it out of the water is kind of important. So, okay, what do we have here? It is a sunfish, yes. If we get a second sunfish, then we will keep it for a bundle, and hopefully it'll match up with that one, not be like an iron or a gold version. But, oh, we got another one. And drum roll, please. It is smallmouth bass. Okay, so here we're back to, if I just drop it on the ground, it'll stay there because it doesn't go in the water. If we were fishing north or south, it goes in the water. Hi, Maru. Let's check the board. Man, I'm terrible at checking the board. All right, quartz we're never going to get because we can't mine yet. I guess it's possible we can get into the mine tomorrow. Let's see what happens there. But so maybe there is possible to get quartz. We are going to use as much money as we can to buy parsnip seeds. 36 is a good number. Overall, we don't want to exceed sort of 100, 120. Now we're going to go find Leah and give her her delivery. Hey, how's it going? Make some friends as we go along. So Leah's house is down here in the corner, and in the spring she tends to stay sort of in this cinderwood area. So we'll take a look around if yeah, we don't see her there. She's sometimes down in this corner. No, she's not there. Sometimes she will go up to the dock or just past the dock. There she is on the dock. Excellent. So we will give her, yay, sunfish. And we're making friends with Leah. That's good. For 95, I think that was. And then we will pick up the wild horseradish on our way through, plant our parsnip seeds, a fair bit of parsnip seeds, but we just doing the quick math, we had 67, 68, whatever, plus another 30 odd. We're in sort of in the 100 range. That's about the cap that we want, but we do want to hit that cap. So that was a good buy. So those are duplicates. We can dump those, get some money for them. Too bad we couldn't get them from Willie, because then we could probably buy a couple more sunflower seed or parsnip seeds. But like I said, we're about the cap that we want for parsnip seeds. If we're watering too much more than 100, 120, then it's going to cause its own problems. So this will work out kind of well. We're right in the range we want to be. Now, early on, we're trying to accumulate as much money as we cash as we can for the egg festival so that we can convert that into strawberries. So we probably still don't want to buy a whole bunch of cauliflower because they won't be ready until after the egg festival. So we'll wait till the egg festival or after to buy and plant the cauliflower. Before that, I think we're still good with parsnips. Even if we go a few more parsnips and we have to water a few more plots, that's probably worth our while because we'll get the return on the strawberries thereafter. So that's kind of the plan we go forward. Now, maybe other things come up, and it's good to let's actually we should make up a wild snack. So there we go, trail snack or whatever, and get a little more energy. Yay! So we can finish our 10. But yes, so before the 13th, we are going to try and focus on parsnips because we know we will be able to cash them in time. Actually, I'll say before the 10th, because before the 8th, I guess, because after that, doesn't matter what we plant, we won't be able to cash out the crop before we get to the egg festival. But sort of leading up to the egg festival, we want to be able to be as liquid as possible, or get as much cash as possible. So let's go around foraging, see what we can find on the sort of the north path. Hoping to get a leek would be nice, or more horseradish, whatever. I think we've already said hi to Linus. Otherwise, we should stop in. Sometimes I play often enough I forget who I've said hi to and who I haven't. We will get back to that. So coming through, now we do know we left the smallmouth bass. We left the paper too, but I'm not too worried about the paper. But we should pick up the smallmouth bass and convert it so that we can buy some stuff tomorrow at least. And we'll say hi to people in here. There's Clint again. Hi, Clint. You actually have to say hi to Clint. You can't just work a transaction with them. I don't think we've said hi to Gus before. I don't think we. I think that was sort of a good interlude. It's getting late though, 11:40. We're gonna get back and probably just dump our stuff, sell our smallmouth bass, store our clay, and I think we're good for the day. I think that's gonna be all we need. So as well, I'm hoping, yeah, so there's one there. Otherwise I would have planted it there. Might as well just plant this one. If we need to chop it down because it's in the way of that north path, that's fine. But we do need two maple seeds there. So I think we've made it through day 4. We'll hand it back to Dino and see what he can do for a recap. So, very cool. All right, thanks. Okay, Thanks, Av. That was fantastic. Just to let's do a little bit of an update. What we had on track, we wanted to build a connection to the tide pools. We wanted to catch a sunfish for Leia, and additionally, if we had a second one for a bundle, that'd be great. Water all plots, and really a focus on zero misses. Look for forage items, including spring onions, and judiciously buy parsnips plants. Well, actually, let's see what happened. Well, certainly, the tiled pool, we did that right away. That's good, and we actually got some good coin from what we found on that side, the forge items. So there's some forge experience we're going to get it that we wouldn't have had if we didn't have the tiled pool connection. But there's also the money that we brought from that. So we also wanted to catch a sunfish. We got one for Leah. Fantastic. So we finished that quest. Those are time sensitive, so we want to get that done. We still want to do another one for the bundle, but we're not as it's not as big a rush. I mean, the community center isn't even open yet, so it'll be a day or two before we get in there. Look for forage items, including spring onions. So that was worth. I know we started down the path towards Piers, but we ended up going south. We had nothing to sell at Piers. We would eventually get there anyway for the parsnips. So that reroute, I mean, we didn't shouldn't probably have started in that direction, but it's nice that we caught that and went down. So that's good. And then buy and plant some parsnips. We got 36 more parsnips. Now, looking back at the tape, I did notice that the difference between the 76 and 77 was a crow ate one of our plants in the middle of the night. So that was the confusion. But we'll resolve all that later. The other thing is good for Av for taking on the zero misses charge. I don't think there's, when we do a zero inventory, zero mistakes, zero time lost, zero all the zero from the lean manufacturing stuff, it's a beautiful concept from the standpoint that we know you're not going to get zero. And even when you do get zero, you still haven't gotten zero because tomorrow there could be one. So it really is an aspirational goal. We aspire to get zero, and we put structures in place so that we can, work towards zero. But if we don't get zero, there's no sense in chiding someone. Really, it's the process that matters. And the fact that Av's taken on that process, started to collect the metric, putting it up on whiteboards. You saw that he put it up on a whiteboard. That was important because that sets the production side, sort of the mindset that this is a big thing. We're going to focus on misses. If anyone can contribute for, even if the sweeper's walking by and they say, I know how we can fix that, they're going to say it if it's posted. They're not going to say squat if there's nothing up. So really putting a banner on this was a good thing. And this posted of miss metrics is really a positive step forward. And it doesn't say, only works if we get down to zero. It works because we get more people focused on the right things. And given that the energy that we're using is the bottleneck, this focus is the right focus. So we're going to come back for day 5. I'll probably have a little more. I thought I was going to do IT systems for day 4, but maybe we'll do IT systems for day 5. But we got some new stuff coming up. Certainly, we're going to get to it, whether it's day 5 or day 6. We quickly have to get to the ledger, the accounting system that's being used. I know you're saying, Dino, this is just a video game. Why do we need an accounting system? No, you need an accounting system. You need to understand the metrics that work for you and the metrics that don't work for you. You need to understand that some of the IT tools, can look really impressive. Impressive isn't the benchmark that we need to cross. We need them to be effective for what we are doing and what we're looking at. So you can look forward to that in either, like I said, either day 5, episode 5, or episode 6, because that's fast approaching importance. Hopefully, you're getting something out of this. I've already got, this is the 4th one of the 3 posted. I already got a couple likes. Hopefully, I mean, give me comments as far as what you like and what you don't like, what works, what doesn't work. In an education sense, I would usually be pulling the class, or if the class was in front of me, I could get some feedback as to what's working, what's not working, what's obtuse and opaque, and what is really sharp and makes the point. It has some transparency. And I'd love to get some of that feedback. But until then, I trust I'm getting something. You're getting something out of this that you can apply either to Stardew Valley or the real world. But nonetheless, we'll pick this up in episode 5. Take care.